some of this content, they will be able to do so at their convenience. So let's get started. So I'm going to bring up a short presentation to just kick off some of the things that I'm sure all of us are in this time. And let's get going. So can everybody see my first slide?
Yeah, so far.
Okay, very good. Well, I call this a little short discussion, Getting Clear in Times of Challenge. And clearly what we're experiencing right now constitutes a challenge. None of us have ever possibly been through anything like this unless you were possibly in New Orleans for Katrina or some other kind of catastrophe. This is certainly something that causes all of us to have to take pause and attempt to get as clear as we can about not only our business activity, but our lives, our families, our communities, and all that we care about. So I say all the time that there is nothing more powerful than, and many of you probably could complete that. Certainly all of us, nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come. Many of us started our business activities on an idea, a vision, and hopefully a plan. And I like to say that the most important thing, nothing happens until you or any one of us have a made up mind. We have to make a decision. In the course of all these things going on, we're bombarded with a lot of challenges and different opinions and information, and everybody's fighting for our attention. But during time, we have to become clear and we have to make a decision. And presumably all of you that are on the call today have made a decision that your business is just as important as anything else going on out here. And you've made the decision that you are going to continue in your business to the best of your ability. Slide is hanging up here a little bit. Let's go back and start. Sorry about that. So it all starts with you. Really, as I like to say, you're the answer to all the questions you have. As the person who started this business, first thing you want to kind of get clear is within your own mind, what is your mindset during this period of time? And recognizing that it's up to you to think through how you want to proceed moving forward. But also with your thoughts, you know, you're going to have some feelings. You're going to have mixed feelings. You're going to have different ways that you respond to all the ways things are coming at you. But you must recognize in this time that you choose your feelings. You're the one that's in control. You're in the driver's seat. You're in command. And so you, just like you choose your thoughts and choose to focus on the things that allow you to put one foot before the other, put first things first, you also do that with your feelings. So you have to put your feelings in check and not let your feelings over you to the point that you become paralyzed and you're not focused. And of course, all of us must become focused on our health in this period of time. We cannot play any games when it comes to social distancing, when it comes to proper nutrition, when it comes to the protection of, again, those in our care and keeping. But we also must recognize that health isn't just physical, that it is, we're threefold beings. And in order for us to be in balance, we must balance ourselves, our mental selves, and our physical selves. So whatever we need to do during this time of getting clear, and the goal is to get clear, be clear, stay clear, and be focused. It starts with a spiritual grounding, and then that carries over into our mental and physical well-being. Slides are not moving here the way they're supposed to move.
Can you go back to the first one real quick? So I can just take this screenshot because I'm taking screenshots of it as my.
And we can send this presentation to everyone that's here today. So I'll make, you don't have to worry about taking a screenshot or a anything. I'll make sure we send it out to everybody. We have
Okay.
email for everybody that's here, so
Thank
you'll
you.
be able to get a copy of this, no
Thank you.
problem. So, you know, one of the focuses that all of you that have been through the Shine program, you know how much attention you put into the development of your plan. But now all of a sudden, everything is tossed up in the air. And so you're asking yourself the question, how is my business, and I put in parentheses plan, because this calls into question, who are you going to help? And how does your business help? And as you know, people are being sequestered and they can't do this and they can't do that. What was your business even about to help? Help who? And then why you? In this particular time when people are hunkering down and they're really focusing on needs and not wants, why you? You know, what is it about you and your team that is of critical importance right now? How are you a critical business? And of course, why now in this time? And so these are questions not only I'm sure all of us are asking ourselves, but we also need to communicate beyond ourselves and really engage our stakeholders, our audience, our suppliers, the facility that we're in. It's time for some very meaningful conversations to get clear. You can't just get clear without understanding what's the best way you can help, and what are the best things you do bring to the table. And so this is really a gut check. This is a gut check. This is a reassessment. This is blow the dust off the plan and get extremely clear about your target market. What are your apprentices? That's exactly what these questions are all about. So I like to say one business can make a difference, and that's your business. And the most important thing during this time is to know your value. And as you start to rethink your value proposition, you want to perhaps think about what is the design of your business, what is it you deliver, and how can you create a sense of value, appreciation, and delight within your customers. Now, it's clear to me and hopefully to everybody on this call that the world will never be the same. So people say, well, you know, when we go back to being able to get out and get around, well, let me tell you something. There's no going back. What's going to happen is going to be different in many, many ways, shapes, and forms. So why not use this time to come out and make it better? So that means that we have to think about how we've designed our business. And of course, the goal is to win. So during this time, one thing that we need to do, and many of you that have started, and we'll hear later today from the people on the call, that if you want to take advantage of resources, if you want to perhaps get emergency funding or apply for a grant or something, you can't do it without any documentation. So here's a perfect time, and some of us, sometimes we're so busy running around that we're not as organized as we would like to be. Well, here's our chance to pull everything together. Get your business plan together. Get all your documents together. Your incorporation papers, your pull the data together on your clients. Do you have multiple ways of communicating with them? Do you have email address for your clients? Do you have a Facebook contact for your clients? Do you know how to reach them on Instagram or text message? Pull your contact database together as best you can. And then of course, we see now, if we didn't already appreciate the value of technology, that you know, you almost can't do anything in this period of time without the right platform, without the right systems. Everybody on the call, that either through your smartphone or tablet or computer, you're able to participate in this. But I think all of us want to try to figure out how can we upgrade our systems so that we can best take advantage of this situation and also be a part of how we connect and do business with our customers. So here's perfect time to pull all of this together, our files, our taxes, our invoices, our contracts, all of these things. Let's get a handle on the information that makes up what our business is about, who we engage, our suppliers, how do them, insurance policies, all these types of things, because as we're seeing and our speakers today will go through some of these things, all of this requires documentation to participate in any of this activity. And also it's a great time to really figure out who's got your back, who's on your team, who's your right-hand man or your right-hand woman, personal or business attorney, your bookkeeper, your accountant, you have someone in the insurance area. How about real estate? Who's your go-to person, not only for leasing something, but I like to say all the time that every business needs to have a physical infrastructure strategy and a real estate strategy. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Also marketing, who's helping you with how you present yourself in the marketplace. And then also a personal and business banker. We have to really strive to build strong relationships. And in this time where we're maybe not ripping and running as much as we normally do, this is the time to solidify key relationships important to your business. So everybody got that? So in this time too, clearly family matters. I like to say caregivers need care too. And some of us play critical roles within our family. And while we juggle all the time to put our personal goals and our business goals, now's the time to revise that level of balance and make sure that we're doing the things that are taking care of the well-being of those that are in our care and keeping. So families are closer together by not necessarily by choice right now. And that's a good thing, to try to figure out how to create a balance and appreciation and awareness for your family, for what you do as an entrepreneur, but also where they are, and try to create this work-life balance that we all strive to do. And so this is a time to bring into focus those concerns. So, you know, a good way to think about things is, what's your message to the world? What's your message to, again, why you, why now, what are you bringing to the table? And a good exercise that all of us could do to make us think, if we were to have a press conference, we see, and these folks have these daily meetings and they're talking about whatever they're talking about. Suppose somebody would call us up to the podium and ask us to say a few words about what our business is bringing to the party right now. Could we make a statement of capabilities? Could we talk about how we're choosing to make a difference? Could we talk about what we're bringing in support of our customers so that they could find some benefit in what we're able to do? So the exercise of creating a press release, if you think about, what do you have to say? And is this something that would resonate and be important and would be worthy of 2 or 3 minutes of time at the podium? And you have a podium, because it is up to you to have a way that you want to communicate. And even if it's just individual phone calls to your customers and prospects. Hey, how you doing? I just want you to know we're here for you. You know, we do this, you know, we have this product, we have this service. How can we modify what would be of value? And let your stakeholders know that you're still here and that you care about them and their welfare. So now's the time to get social, to listen, to ask questions, and to engage everyone that needs to know about how things are happening with you. So I believe that in this time of challenge, this is the best opportunity you will ever see to acquire resources, to access capital, and to assemble talent. No one was talking to the needs of small businesses until this challenge appeared at the level they're talking about it. All of a sudden, the banks are interested. All of a sudden, you're hearing about the city with special programs. The governor's got some things. The county announced some things the other day. This is the time where anybody in business needs to speak up, stand up, try to get these resources, access capital. Talent is going to be available. A lot of people have been furloughed. Some of the sharpest, brightest, best talented people in the world now have some time on their hands and are rethinking their corporate structures. Maybe they could be part of your team. So in the meantime, as we're working through this process, we have to make, again, a decision and a choice. That choice is to grow. How are we going to grow? What do we want to share? What do we choose to think? Do we need to learn some new skills and some talents so we sharpen our acts? We can improve what we are presenting ourselves to the marketplace. We got to write some of this down. So that business plan that we worked so hard during the CBA, maybe it needs a little more sharps, aren't to be put on a shelf or just to show to a funder. It's also something that we review, we change, we write, we rewrite, we evaluate. And so these are all the things that we could choose to do in this meantime period when we've been sat down by the facts of the day that we need to kind of continue to move forward. So I'm just going to wrap up here very quickly and bring on the rest of our speakers, but how we deliver and what we deliver. Do we have some good products, some standout products, and like I said before, products that people need, that are not just nice to have, and when things are in a certain way, this might be just something to do. But even products that are personal care products are also about this time. People are recognizing that they need to take care of themselves. They need to feel good about themselves. So how can you position your product in a way that's something that people need and can see the real value in? Oh, some of us that consider ourselves product companies, we need to have a service. How are we servicing that company? How are we getting that to those clients when they need it, how they need it, in the way that they need it? So what's our total customer experience? You know, if we're a service company, have we thought about creating some products that support the benefits of our service in an ongoing way? So it's a total customer experience that we are striving for. So I, like us to take a look at something I call the 80-20 rule, and that means that how many people know what the 80-20 rule is? Anybody can speak about that? Everybody know what that means?
For the most part, it's the ratio of attempts to closures, and it's usually associated in the sales field. So that's as far as my understanding is.
Well, that's certainly one good way to look at it. It's also to say that if at all of your customers, you probably would notice that you get most of your business from 20% of your customers. So if you look at, out of the 100% of your customers, 20% of your customers are probably your best customers, your repeat customers, the customers that you do business with, the customers that always want to see you around. You got some people that you've done a little bit of business with, but the 80-20 rule says that 20% of the ones are giving you 80% of the revenue. And that applies across the board. Some of us may have a product line, but in that product line, we've got some core products that are really driving 80% of the opportunity. We've got some core services that if we're a construction firm or a services company, or we're in personal services, there's some services that make up the core of what people want from us. And so it's a time to really reflect on that and really understand at the base of what we're doing, what our real maximum viable product is, and really get focused on that 20% that's going to bring you 80% of the revenue, be there your customers, your products, and or your services. So in closing, I just want to run through a few quick things, some milestones, some testimonials, and then what comes next. you know, here's a little chart I put together to kind of think about. If we look, you know, here we are, you know, just putting to bed the first quarter, you know, January, February, March. Now we're in April. But again, we're called by this challenge to reframe, refocus, and possibly even relaunch the business so that we can resume our activities. You know, the goal is to continue to do business, continue to serve customers, to continue to buy products. And then as we recalibrate ourselves, refocus ourselves, make a pivot, is sometimes term is used. The goal is to focus on revenue, you know, and what can we do that can start to put the revenue posture in place and allow us to continue to grow. And so presumably, you know, as we come into the summer months, we'll be able to see, you know, a light at the end of the tunnel. We'll be able to see how we're adding value. We'll understand some of these things. And then when we come to September, you know, let's take a breath. Let's review our progress. Let's see if this pivot actually is working. Let's see and understand, continue to communicate aggressively with our stakeholders, and let's report out. Let's report out to our stakeholders and everyone kind of what our status is. And the goal is to kind of close strong in the year, to gather financials, to create a new forecast, and get a real clarity on continuing to move ahead. Because again, what's going to happen in 2021 and 2022 is nobody's guess how things are going to be altered. And so we're going to have to be flexible throughout. And all of it is based on what the market is telling us. So I'm asking each and every one on the call today to get down to the nitty gritty with conversations. Conversations, first of all, with your customer. What is it that they need you to do that could be most helpful for them in their time of challenge? They may need you to step up and do some things and give you an opportunity to do some things just because you're there and want to help. So have clarity about the requirements of your customers. Also, let's negotiate a way to do business win. So if you're getting products from a supplier, and let's say the terms and conditions were a certain way, maybe some of us didn't have the best terms for some of the wholesale products that we buy. Well, let's go back to the negotiation table. Business is all about negotiation. Your lease, your space, everything that you do, you know, negotiate something that's a win-win for you by having a conversation with all the people that can help you be successful. Maybe they could extend your terms. Maybe they could extend your credit. People are going to be excited to work with people that want to work and continue to move forward in this time. And of course, the people that are coming up behind me are going to talk a lot about this, but you have a plan to put money to work, and you can show them how putting this money to work is going to allow you to keep employees, retain employees, continue to support the growth of your business. So let me wrap up and get out of the way and allow some folks to come on and really give you some meat and potatoes of what's happening right now. But let me just say this: you have leverage. You have leverage. You know, use it. You got stakeholders, you got customers, and probably the most important thing is you're part of a community. I personally in here is to make sure that this Sunshine community becomes the most active and engaged and sharing and participatory business community that anybody's ever seen in the city of Chicago. With almost 700 people a part of this community, some of those folks can be partners. Some of those folks can be customers. Some of those folks can be allies and contributors. We're all here to see each other win. And this is the time that community can make all the difference in the world. So again, I want to thank each and every one of you for, and I'm going to turn it back over to Sandra. And I'm out of here. Your best is yet to come. I know all of you all didn't come this far to quit. Recognize you have a tribe in Sunshine, and Sunshine definitely has your back. And again, I'm here with all the rest of the coaches and all the rest of the administrators to make sure that we are not going to leave any stone unturned to make sure that you're successful. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Bruce. We really do.
Thank you, Bruce. Well, thank you so much, Bruce, for that presentation.
And again, I'll send this. It was kind of moving.
Yes. And we'll make
Yes.
sure we get that out to everyone. And also this webinar or this workshop is being recorded. With that being said, I just also, before I turn it over to our next speaker, I want to let you all know, if you have a coach, please reach out to your coach. If you don't have a coach, please email me and we will get you scheduled or set up with a coach. Especially during these times, there are a lot of applications out here. They're very complicated. And so we want to make sure that you are filling out these applications the right time, the best way and the right way the first time. We don't want to have you all have to wait, send an application, realize it's not correct, then you have to get it back, fill it out. So if we can set you up with a coach that can help you, if you have to fill out any application for loans or grants, we can assist you with that. And we have coaches who are already lined up to assist you. So if you need a coach, please feel free to reach out to me. You all should have my email. Consider I've been bombarding you with all types of emails and workshops and focus groups and things of that nature. So please feel free to email me if you need to be set up with a coach. But with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to our next speaker, who is Edwin Romero, who is a digital strategist, and he's going to talk about all the fun things when it comes to technology.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
hey, hey.
yes.
Awesome. So first and foremost, thank you guys for having me here. I presented, I think, a couple months back. Quandra invited me again, and I'm really happy to be here. Hope to share some insights. At any point, feel free to stop me, ask any questions. I do have a presentation to go through, so I'll walk through that. I wanted this to be as conversational as possible, but ultimately, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let me know when you guys can see it.
Okay.
We can see it.
Awesome. So when I was trying to put this together, and after doing a whole bunch of research around what small businesses, entrepreneurs, and ultimately brands are doing online, they're trying super hard to stay relevant. You know, they're trying to stay relevant during a very turbulent time, which is the coronavirus, COVID-19, you know, and we'll get through the mindset and behaviors that customers have in our businesses. But I think the core element across the board is brands and companies and small businesses are trying to stay relevant. That's where the money comes in. Ultimately, staying relevant, you know, you stay top of mind for your customer, and ultimately you see business come through. In this case, what you might see is business taken on in a different form, but we'll talk through that right now. Just an agenda, just an introduction, who I am, where I've been, the playing field, possible new strategies, examples, and the like, and ultimately a summary, things you guys can take away after this call. So an introduction, I am currently an SEO manager at Capgemini. I have 8 years of experience within the digital space, helping small businesses, mid-sized clients, as well as enterprise level clients or corporations. My specialties include digital strategy, content strategy, as well as a technical liaison with development groups, and I'm a Chicago native. With that, the one thing I haven't added on here is that my parents, so this affects them as much as it affects you guys, and something that I know is near and dear to my heart. So with that, I want to set the scene for you guys, who the players are, what the playing field looks like. So before COVID, this is what it essentially looked like at a very high level. You have your business, your brand, your identity. Below that is ultimately the products and services that you guys offer, you know, and that can be sold through a storefront, through whatever shop you guys have. So a brick and mortar, a restaurant if you guys sell food, groceries, maybe even an office space or on-site visits. You might engage in something like services and utilities where you actually go on-site for your customer. And ultimately, our goal as a business is to sell all those products, all those services to our customers, our clients, and our supporters, our brand advocates. So, you know, before COVID, that's kind of how it looked like. I imagine, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, you know, on a good day, we'd get customers coming in on a regular basis. I mean, I know we'd have to hustle for it, but we'd get them nonetheless. Unfortunately, the way it looks like now is has cut off those ties. So our basically the resources that we had used for selling have now been cut. You know, we think about localization, we think about interaction with our clients, our customers. They're no longer as possible because the risk of coronavirus to our customers' health. And I wouldn't be surprised, a lot of you are feeling this, like all the other brands, all the other businesses that exist out there. So where do we go from here? You know, knowing that the playing field has shifted, I think a good way to look at this, guys, is in this fashion. You know, we have ties, or at least we used kind of resources to our storefront, restaurants, office, on-site visits to deliver our products, our messages, our services. Now we have to take it in a different form, okay? How do we take it? I think the first step is to understand customer behavior. With our customers, I wouldn't be surprised if a bulk of you, if not all of you, have told me are experiencing that your customers are going through new priorities. You know, maybe some luxurious things, some luxurious items aren't top of mind. Maybe priorities have shifted to health, to family, to making sure there's food on the table, knowing that there might be a looming economic downturn. With that, new thoughts, like I mentioned, they've shifted to one that's more about, let's stay home. Let's make sure that we can take care of the necessities. And with that, there are new behaviors, which you may have experienced already, like other brands in the city and around the world. They aren't going outside for shopping. They aren't, customers aren't mingling as much with, you know, vendors, with stores, even with, within their social groups. Things have shifted. What they're doing now is they're engaging more so on their phones, you know, on their tablets, on their computers. They're on the web so much more, and they're not even on the web for buying products. They're on the web to find out information, information around how to take care of themselves at home, how to keep busy, learning new things, using the web. The web itself, the internet, has been just one of the best inventions, I guess, to humanity, that the humanity has experienced. And as such, our customers are using it even more so now than ever. With that, they're also on social media. You know, you distance yourself so much, you're gonna feel lonely. You wanna make sure you maintain those interactions with those that are near and dear to your heart. So the best way to do that is through social media. Now, I know I don't really do this, but my wife does, and I know a lot of folks online do as well. They learn new things, they learn new crafts, they try to intake news of all sorts through videos. It's a platform, a medium that is easy to digest and ultimately super easy to use. So what does this mean for you guys? I mean, what you've noticed on the right-hand side is I've crossed out your business, your brand, your identity, you know, and I don't mean this as none of this matters anymore. That's not what I mean. What I mean is that the new priorities, the new thoughts and behaviors don't align with what we have to offer for the time being. And so I think this, as business owners, this might be your opportunity to reshift how you guys have functioned as businesses, brands, identity, I guess, with your identities, so that your relevance and your value falls in line with your customers' priorities, their thoughts, and behaviors, okay? So knowing that behaviors have shifted towards mobile, to phones, towards the web usage, towards social media and new videos and videos, I should say, I think the tools that exist out there, they're even more prominent. We have to shift focus to using our website, using web properties, assets that exist online, that includes things like Yelp, that includes things like your website, that includes things like Google My Business. I'm not sure how many of you had joined my presentation back in the fall last year. One of the things I talked about was Google My Business. This right now, if you guys aren't aware of it, Google My Business as local businesses is going to be extraordinarily crucial for you. Social. Now, I think this is one where you might be experiencing pretty pretty regularly, or, you know, on a personal level. You know I find myself going on Instagram, on Facebook, other social platforms like Quora. Find out where your customers are. You know, if they're using Instagram, see if you can use it as well. You know, make sure that you are appealing and are relevant, providing value through things like Instagram, through Facebook, and any other social platforms where your customers might be found. Last but not least, video is going to be extraordinarily crucial. What you might find is that your customer might lean on video education. They might lean on video education for maybe foods, for cleaning, or taking on new activities at home. Don't be afraid to use things like YouTube, Facebook video, Instagram video, to make sure that your customers are enticed with that type of content. You know, there's opportunities to teach your customers. Again, this is meant to, yes, keep your brand, your company alive through relevancy and value, but it's also meant to connect instead of sell. Right now, customers in the population are worried. They want to make sure that they're well taken care of. They're well taken care of. And what better way to make sure they're well taken care of through these types of means, through providing education and connecting, okay? So what I want to do right now is talk through new strategies, but if you give me 1 second. My office is a little dark, so I'm using another dual monitor to give me light. I hope that helps. In any case, what I want to talk through right now is some new strategies. And what this entails is essentially looking at what other brands online have done and something that you guys can take away, you know. During this time, what we've experienced is a ton of innovative ideas, a ton of new creative strategies on making sure that put out there, that your products keep selling, your services keep getting asked for. And this is where the case studies, where I want to highlight them, okay? So with that, let's talk about this example, the gym. Orange Theory, I'm not sure how many of you guys have heard of Orange Theory, but they offer high intensity workouts within their gym sessions. And ultimately the goal is to make sure they get your heart pumping at a very high rate. And depending on how high it gets, they assign a score at the very end of each workout. Each session contains about 15 to 30 individuals. And as you can imagine, based on what we've seen with coronavirus, you want to make sure that that you're not so close together, you know, and ultimately, like every other businesses, Orange Theory cancel their classes, and they're experiencing difficulties in terms of membership fees because no one's going to want to pay to be a part of a gym that they can't attend, you know. So what do? I'll highlight what they did in a moment. The 3 icons on the top right here, they take the web, social, and video. Depending on what each of these cases have done, I'll highlight the icons. In this case, what I'm saying for Orange Theory, they are leveraging social and they're leveraging video. And you can tell when I walk through this slide right here. So Orange Theory shifted away from their in-gym workouts due to the danger that was posed by coronavirus. What they're doing instead is they're focusing on high-intensity home workout videos. You know, abundant in the house, like books, luggages, and the like, and ultimately creating free videos online. You know, the reason they're doing this is because they know members do not want to pay for gyms that they cannot attend, gym sessions they can attend. However, they're keeping an audience by providing these free videos, with the goal of once the gyms reopen, once things come back to normal, they can still have their members come back with them, provide that revenue stream that they experienced prior to COVID. Now, another interesting thing that they are doing is they're using Instagram. They're using social. In this case, they're using social to keep their members engaged. Let them know that, hey, you know, we offered these social settings, and we can still offer these social settings through Zoom, through these morning check-ins, in addition to daily check-ins for your workouts. So this is what the gym is doing. This is what Orange Theory is doing. Now, again, this may not apply to your business, but think about the creativity, innovative they've been with resources like video, like social, to make sure that not only do they retain members once COVID is over, but they also provide a little relevancy. They provide some value during this time where users are at home. You know, they're trying to do things at home and keep busy. Another example, the paint and sip. I'm not sure how many of you guys have heard of this particular gallery, Sip and Paint. And if you're not familiar with paint and sips, what they do is essentially you take a bottle of booze, you go to a gallery and start painting with your friends or whomever. Time, I've done it. It's a great time. So what Sip and Paint had done was they provided painting supplies for their gallery. They hosted a ton of events for what I've seen, students, dates, just friend hangouts, so on and so forth. And like Orange Theory, unfortunately, during this time, it's become a risk. It has become a risk to having so many people cooped up in a single location. So what I want to show you what they had done. What they had done is they leveraged social and video. They shifted kind of like at-home activities. They do at-home deliveries. They drop off their painting supplies or kits to a specific location for whomever, and they hosted virtual classes. Again, the only thing you have to worry about, honestly, is probably cleaning up after the mess. You know, if you're cooped up with your wife, your kids, or even larger family members, Sip and Paint would have ultimately dropped off these kits and keep you busy for an evening, particularly Saturday nights. Sip and Paint using resources that exist online to keep their audience engaged. But not only this, they're actually experiencing revenue with this. You know, they are selling these painting kits so that they are used on a regular basis, and they're hosting virtual classes and ultimately showing this off through Instagram, through their social platforms. The grocery. I think this is one that a lot of us are concerned around. I honestly was going, if I could stay and you know, avoid going to groceries, I would, but you know, we have large families. So Tony's Finer Foods was a grocery that provided for families and the neighborhood. Like in a lot of areas, unfortunately, it's the only grocery store in our specific vicinity. So making it more difficult to come by, and you risk to go out there, risk yourself in terms of health. But groceries like Tony's, and including Target, Whole Foods, the majority of other groceries out there are actually leaning online. In this case, Tony's is using Instacart. I'm not sure how many of you guys have heard of Instacart, but they're a service that ultimately helps deliver your produces to customers. What they also have is some online shopping. In case you keep track of purchases online, Tony's is leaning on this even more so now than ever. And if you're not familiar with online shopping, I'm not sure how many of you guys, you may look into shifting towards online. A lot of brands have actually leaned on online. I myself I am taking my parents' shop and converting it to an online website using Shopify. Now, if you guys have existing websites, or if you don't have a website, do some research. You know, see what works out best for you. Maybe something like WordPress would do the trick. If you guys are on WordPress sites already and you want to convert it to online shopping, you certainly can do that. The beautiful thing about WordPress, maybe you're on Wix, maybe you're on another platform that has e-commerce capability, so online shopping capability. See if your audience is even online. You know, if they're looking to get things delivered to their home, online shopping is the way to go. Okay? So the last slide I want to, in this regard, these strategies here, it's not so much a business case for a specific business, but it is a case for a city. I call this one the citywide picnic. So Austin, like Chicago, had faced citywide restaurant closures. And with that, you know, they still wanted to get their food out there. You'd be surprised how often customers, how much the public really cares about small businesses. I know I care a ton about small businesses. I know there are a ton of folks in Chicago that care about small businesses. Austin being a city just like that, What they did was they implemented a living room picnic, this sort of theme, this topic that was citywide, where they encouraged customers to order from their favorite restaurants through services like Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, these services that help to deliver foods from restaurants to your customers. So they took this innovative approach to make sure that, you know, we get customers coming by, we get customers buying, let them know that it is safe to actually order in, you know, instead of going out. So living room picnic. Now, how this applies to you guys, there is always there are innovative, creative solutions that exist for small businesses. You know, maybe the previous slides weren't applicable to you guys, and it's completely fine. You know, it's hard to apply one is to make sure you guys start thinking more innovatively and creatively. And that's what the goal was. So I want to provide a summary, and I'm open to questions. I'm open to any kind of comments. Connect. I think that's really important. Connect and then sell. You know, I'm not sure if you guys use any emails, but I get tons of emails. They're extraordinarily insensitive, if I'm being honest. I get an email. I got married a year and a half ago, and we used a limousine service, which required us to submit our email address. Now I get emails around quarantine and dating, quarantine and get your kids in the limo, you know, go around town. That's fine. But right now, my concern is not going inside a limo and going around the city. My concern is what can I do to stay healthy and busy here at home? So something like that is very insensitive. I get another email that was essentially around, are you sick? Are you feeling well? Listen, I understand that you want to check in with your customers, but don't entice users by kind of using this sarcastic, that sounds like I got this sarcastic tone with their emails. Be sensitive, connect with them. Yes, connect with web, you know, connect with social through video, and then sell. Okay, don't sell, then try to connect. Understand where your clients' priorities are and their behaviors. You know, your clients might be different than others that you've encountered in the past. So understand where their priorities are. And I think a lot of customers, their priorities are essentially aligned with staying at home, staying healthy. You know, speak to those priorities. If you're a home cleaning service, see how ultimately you are keeping your clients' priorities in mind, how you're keeping healthy, how you're keeping your supplies clean and safe, and adjust based on their behaviors. You know, when I say behaviors, look towards how they're using social media, how they're using the web, how they're using video, what they can do based in line with your services and products to keep busy. Now, like I mentioned, align your priorities with website, social, and video. And when I mean web, use Yelp, guys. Use Yelp, use Google My Business, use a lot of the tools that exist online to connect with your audiences. Again, it goes back to that first point, connect. Connect through your website. Maybe online shopping isn't for you. That's completely fine. And, you know, you can have messaging online, on-site, talk about COVID-19, how you guys are taking precautions to make sure you're taking care of your clients or your customers. Like I mentioned, connect social and connect through video. Above all else, you know, one thing I want you to guys keep in mind, what I want you guys to keep in mind is provide relevancy and value based on your customers and clients' priorities and their behaviors. Tying it back to that insensitive limo service, you know, that wasn't relevant. That provided no value for me, you know? So why would I sell my services to someone that is being to degree insensitive? You know, stay relevant based on those priorities and behaviors, and try to connect and sell, and then sell to your customers and prospects. Okay, so that is all I have. I think ultimately I have an appendix with tips that you guys can take away. But I want to leave it open to any kind of comments, any questions, Quandra, if that is okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just going to ask if you have any questions, please, let me see if you want to type them and I can read them for you. Also, the video, this presentation, when will we be able to share it with the group?
Oh yes, yeah. I'm so sorry. I thought, yeah. I can send that off to Quandra after the presentation, and you can feel free to share it.
Okay, great. Does anyone have any other questions? Okay. Well, wonderful. I think you did a really good job then, Edwin. No one has.
Thank you so much.
We really appreciate that. We really enjoyed that.
I did have one thing, Lev, and I do apologize. Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I know this is a tough time, guys. This is,
I have one question.
I'm present. Of course.
I have a question.
Yeah, because you're talking about social media, I know, like, I've generally used Instagram and Facebook, but now you like, there's this rise in all the other things, right? So I think everybody's taking to Instagram and Facebook, and but you you got LinkedIn, TikTok, and right. How do you, like, what's your formula or idea for picking or choosing the right social media platform?
Yeah. So that's a really good question. So it really comes down to understanding your audience. Honestly, like, what are they on? Are they on? As customers, I'm not sure how many are on LinkedIn. If it's an older customer, an older consumer group, they might not be on TikTok. I barely know how to use TikTok. I'm usually on Instagram. If it's an older customer base, maybe they're, or maybe they might be on Instagram. So I think it comes down to actually knowing your audience. But in addition to knowing your audience, knowing how they are right now during COVID-19, during the coronavirus. They might be on Instagram a little bit more often, or maybe they're even looking for news, maybe looking for tips. They might be on YouTube, depending on what you're selling. They might be on YouTube for trying to learn new recipes or hints or how-tos.
And I have another question, Edwin. I'm sorry, did they answer your question? Go ahead.
Yeah, so it sounded like there was no way to tell where the customers are, and I think, because I remember the exercise where we had to kind of do the market research and kind of study, like, the behaviors of our ideal clients, but because of COVID-19 and the shut-in and how everybody's online now, I was kind of looking for some guidance around finding those in the virtual world. But it sounds like it's kind of, I don't know, what I took away was kind of trial and error, or just try everything. Is that the?
No, I wouldn't try everything. I would not try everything, because, like, your audience might not even be on TikTok. They might not be on LinkedIn. I would probably lean on Instagram and Facebook, and even YouTube. I know with Instagram, I like it a lot because you can search through hashtags. So if you understand your business, maybe look at possible hashtags that you can go ahead and search by and see what the content is like. The more content, it's more competition, but it's more than likely that people are actually looking for that content.
Okay. Thank you.
I have one other question. With a lawn care and landscaping company, the question is, what kind of, how can they pivot their business in a lawn care and landscaping company?
A lawn care and landscaping company, I think, and forgive me if I don't know the industry, and I'm a little bit, lawn care and landscaping company, you are probably not interacting with people a lot more often than someone like maybe home cleaning, or even like, just groceries. So my advice to you is leverage your website, your web assets. If you have an email address, if you have an email list, use that. Tell your customers, your consumers, hey, listen, we're taking all the necessary precautions to make sure that we don't inhibit your health, and then we don't inhibit our employees' health. You can trust us, and with that, the goal is, again, let's get back in business. Let's make sure we can take care of your lawn and your landscape during this time.
Okay.
The other thing I found really, yeah, please.
It's what was just being said. So I understand where you coming from with everything you're saying. Just to comment on the last two people question that had a comment / question. The first guy, I deal with a lot of those type of platforms because I have a restoration company. So it's hard for me to find clients because my service is once in a lifetime type of service, mold, fire, water damage, that type of stuff. So it's hard for me to find clients. And just to speak on the Yelp situation and some of those platforms, those what he's saying by know your target audience, it depends on your industry, like super heavy. Some of those platforms are focused on restaurants and service. Some platforms are focused on construction industries and the trades like that. So it's just like see what that platform demographic that they capture to know if it's the type of clients that you deal with to see if it's even worth being on that platform. Moving forward, with the marketing on the internet, so like I'm getting ready to do the Facebook and start the Instagram and stuff, but for me, I'm leaning more towards spaces and situations where I need to pay for leads or pay for the advertisement type of thing.
Right.
I don't know, like I don't know, I want to know is like, because my industry is such and as specific as it is it more, I don't know, is it more of a way to find a wider diversity or a wider range? Because
Well, Michael, I can
my
tell
industry is
you,
only that used.
yeah, with you, we can definitely get you a coach to
Yes.
help you work through those thought processes and some of those options. And so if you please send
Yeah,
me,
sorry for
if you don't have, yeah, no, that's fine. No, I just want to make sure that we have someone who can help work through those options for you to make sure that you're not missing those things. Mm-hmm.
And Quandra, if I may, this is something I talk about a lot, and that is a lot of businesses see themselves as only service-based businesses. But if you were to unbundle the services, some of those could be products that people would use on a normal basis, but they just don't think of them as a product. So
Right.
when you go through a restoration project, you probably, if you look at all the steps that you do, some of those include, it could include waterproofing, it could include a removal, it could include, to take a look at all of the steps that you have in your process and say, if I just offered one of those as a product, and anybody could get it, whether they had a complete restoration job or not, they might say, yeah, I would take that because I would want my home to be this or that. So
Yeah, and then we did that because at first we were doing everything on more of a general contracting level. So now we only do what's associated with what we do. Waterproofing is more of a separate
I'm sorry.
and I was just using that as an example, but the point is, in a coaching activity, we could sit down and come up with a range of strategies. And then like Edwin talked about earlier, the most important thing when you're communicating on social media with both customers and prospects is to understand what is their preferred method of getting information that works for them. So nothing, works better than when you're talking with prospects or suspects, say, hey, do you mind getting a text? Or do you check your Facebook page regularly? And you will find that depending on your product or service, you will find your customers fall into some areas that work best for you.
Okay, and I want to, I know Erwin has a hard stop. I'm sorry. I know what you're all talking about is very important. Michael, I'm going to make sure you get hooked up with a coach to answer those very important questions that you have, because we want to make sure that your business stay very successful during this time period. I know there was another question, and I know Erwin has a hard stop.
I have time for one more question, and then I do have to hop on.
Okay, so Beatrice, I believe you had a question. Did he answer that question for you? Okay, well, okay. Well, maybe he did. So, Stephanie, did you have a question?
It wasn't a question, but for the landscaping person, I'm just thinking like my salon, we have a database of about 200 clients that I built up over the past 3 years since I started my business. Have you thought about partnering with people that have an existing client database and possibly promote your business through email or something like that? Like I would be willing to promote your business through my shared database, which is about 200 clients right now.
Great. So that will be for the landscaping question.
That's a great example of being creative in these times, as was earlier
Mhm.
mentioned in our start of this session. Thinking
Mhm.
outside
Exactly
the
it.
box to continue
That's
to
exactly
keep
it.
things going.
Absolutely. Okay, well, Edwin, did you just want to go ahead and wrap up?
Guys,
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thing, Edwin, before you left, before you leave, and again, this is not exactly a question, but wouldn't it be good too if us as Sunshine Enterprises kind of interlinked and was able to share the database like Stephanie said, because I know many of us do food, we could share contacts, connections, make introductions, things like that. Could the coaches help us do those things?
Absolutely. Laura, did you want to chime in to that comment?
Sure. We've been looking at different platforms to make inter-alumni connections easier. For a start, make sure that everybody on the call is on the Sunshine alumni page on Facebook. And then Quandra, Bruce, and others are thinking about how to make it easier for that alumni to alumni connection that we just saw happen here. And so one of the ways that we're gonna start that is doing Zooms by hub, so that we're building community and reporting out on what's happening in each hub. So we're building relationships that way, encouraging more people to use the alumni Facebook group. And our marketing consultant had also built out some sort of industry pockets there. And then we're coding our database for industry. We're coding our alumni database by industry as well, so we can develop other strategies as well. So we're very open to all suggestions for connecting up alumni to share resources like shared database.
Wonderful. I appreciate that. And Edwin, you've provided so much pertinent information for how I can move. I know for my business, move forward, try to get more online and getting things. And I've actually started some of that checking in customers, sending emails saying, how you doing? We know that these are challenging times. We're here if you need us. We appreciate you and stay blessed and healthy. So we've begun doing some of that. So we appreciate the reinforcement.
No worries, no worries. And
I'm sorry, I was going to say, I think we have one last hand raised. Beatrice, did you want to say something?
Yes. So my question is, someone kind of explained with the lawn care and landscaping company that I have, I've tried to, get services and or products online, and I'm having an issue with that. I wanted to maybe get like an herbal garden and ship that out to people to get them started doing something with the kids or whatever. And I've been trying to locate like drop shipping companies and things like that in the US so we can actually get it shipped out to them. And I'm not, are there other products that I could possibly offer them?
Possibly. I mean, that one's a little bit more tough because we talk about logistics, and there might be more resources at a local level depending on where your customer base is located. I mean, thinking regionally as opposed to nationally. I mean, if you have products that are ultimately sold elsewhere, and you can don't want to say you're upset with Amazon, but things like using a third party to help facilitate that connection. And unfortunately, I don't have an answer for you off the top of my head, but maybe looking at the logistics at it from a different perspective, as opposed to which it sounds like you're already doing. Yeah, I do apologize.
No worries. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
No worries. I do have to hop off, but I do want to say one last thing, guys. You know, I feel as if humans, when pinned against the wall, that is when we are the most innovative. I feel that's a fact. And right now, as a society, we are pinned against the wall. But I promise you, with creativity and innovation, I think we can come out this even stronger and more intelligent than ever. So with that, I'm gonna hop off. I'll share this deck, but please be safe, stay healthy, and the best of luck to everyone.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
With that being said, we're going to move on to our next presenter, Miss Andrea Thompson. She's going to hopefully dive a little bit more into the social media platform and how to get your business more present. I will let Andrea take it from here. Thank you.
Hi, you guys. Can you all hear me? You can hear me? Thumbs up?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and just get started. And I really want to tell you guys a lot of good stuff. I don't want this to be my traditional workshop, because I think that most of you all have probably seen me at one of the CBA classes doing the marketing mix, or marketing magic rather. So I want to pivot, because we've all had to pivot, and now it's a heavier reliance on digital and social media. And so I want to kind of give you all a glimpse of a course that I'm offering, and I'm going to actually take you all on the preview of the course. And this is a course that I have among my digital I want to delve into it just a little bit, so that you guys can do some stuff that can be implemented right now. Because I think everything that me and Edwin have been talking about is just even more apparent right now in these times. So with that said, you can drop questions in the chat and I'll integrate them in. Before I split my screen and show you all some tools, I wanted to start off talking about the organizational stuff. So we're going to look at Acuity first. If you don't have a scheduling tool, try Acuity or Calendly, and I can drop the link for you guys to sign up for Acuity, because it is a free service and there are upgraded features if you want to pay a little bit more per month. This tool is going to help you get organized, so that when you're booking consultations, virtual appointments, times that you're going to go live, you're blocking off time to write content, you can really get organized, because it is a lot of different aspects to marketing yourself online. So breaking it down really helps you to be able to make a logical plan. So the first thing I like to start off with clients is, do you have a library of content? So do you have creative videos, whether they're business oriented, funny family videos? Do you have interesting photos of you doing work, or you, whatever your genre is? If you're a chef, do you have photos of you cooking? Do you have photos of your dishes? If you're a hairstylist, do you have those photos? So those would help you to still be able to create and narrative online and kind of share a little bit about your story. And so I'm actually going to show you all one of my client accounts too, so I can kind of show you all how you bring your story to life through content, because that's what it really is on social media. It's you telling people who you are, why they should know about you, what your expertise is. And so a lot of what your questions were for the previous speaker is really around establishing yourself as an expert in your industry. What are you the go-to source for? And reiterating that to people in a very soft and subtle way. One of the worst things you can do is get on social media, and every time you post it, you're saying, buy my product, buy my soap is good, buy my soap, buy my soap. And they're just like, I'm tired of this. So what you have to do is let them get to know you and let them get to know your brand. You build brand familiarity, which then in turn subsequently builds brand loyalty. Like my grandma don't think it's no other insurance besides State Farm. Like if she's not going nowhere, she's committed because they have consistently, you know, checked on her like a good neighbor. State Farm is there. She's been hearing that. And so when I got my insurance, the first place I went to was State Farm. You know, and so we have to, you know, try to ingrain our brand in people's minds. So you may not have that need now, but when you do have a need, you're going to remember me because I'm on social media telling you about what I know and what you need to know and how what I know connects to what you need. It's speaking to the person's pain point. That positions you as a solution. Do you like sweets, but you don't know how to bake? Buy my cakes. Do you have natural hair, but you struggling with how to style it? I know how to style natural hair. You know, you really have to be able to talk to them in such a way that they think, you know what, I am having a problem with that. You know what, I do need to see about that. I do need to fix that door that keeps squeaking and this man know how to come, you know, put the oil on the door, whatever you do. You know, they're putting off. And so getting down to the nitty gritty of it, I want to start with talking about Michael and his landscape business. Or no, it's two separate people. One person has a landscape business, I believe, and I don't know their name, but Michael has the mold, fire, and water restoration. So for Michael, establishing yourself as an expert is important for you because you're mostly seeing people when they're in a state of emergency. And I also worked for State Farm, so I can talk to you from a perspective of what your ideal client wants to know when they're going through this. They want to know that you know what you're talking about, that you licensed and insurance and bonded, and that you're going to take care of them and make sure that you provide them with the best work, the best service.
And we do, that is exactly where we at with it right now. I'm considered a specialist in my field, so that's exactly where we are. It's just my nearest competition is basically $1 billion corporation, which is so.
I'm not even talking about your competition yet, because I think, like, okay, so when I say establishing yourself as an expert, I want to preface that by, you know, some things that we do are online and other things we do are offline, right? And the offline things we do, we create social proof so we can post about it online so that people know that we're making moves in our industry. If we're going to school, you know, we're perfecting our craft. If we're speaking, we're, you know, establishing ourselves as an expert. So, you know, thinking about how you stand out on the platforms, and you talk where you need to be. If it's LinkedIn, if it's Instagram, if it's Facebook, you need to have some content that speaks to that. So it's spring, right? Stuff is growing, you know, for the landscape person. They could go in their backyard in their garden and go live and plant something and talk about how you need to have the proper soil to plant. You need to put down this kind of grass, whatever. It's spring. Go out there and go live or create a pre-recorded video. For you with the fire, it's an informative thing. So it's check your smoke detectors. You just working properly. I would hate to come on the back end of fire damage to your property.
That's the direction I'm literally going in. That's what creating the YouTube is for, because I noticed that information and learning stuff, teaching type of stuff, people are engaged the more of like 80% of the time, no matter how long it is. So that's the next direction we're going in, is to create a YouTube is just informational, because like from all of our clients, that's one thing, is one key.
Michael, engaged as long as you might think. I don't think people are engaged that long. People are very quick with these scrolling fingers. And I think, you know, more so than thinking about, because I do see what you're saying and thinking about it in terms of where people digested the most information. That's why you're saying YouTube. Mm-hmm. But think about it too from the perspective of, I can drive you wherever I need you to be if I'm saying something that resonates with you. So I can capture you on Facebook and I can drop the link to my YouTube and move, you could, you know, drop the link to my LinkedIn and my IG and move you over there. But it has to be consistent around the board, the branding, the feel of the brand. It needs to be, when I see you on YouTube, it feels the same and sounds the same, unless you're creating a different audience, and that's a different.
No, it's consistent across the board. My logo, the website, everything is consistent across the board. but I don't have, like, I need your services, but I don't want to take up too much time. Definitely thank you, and I'm going to be getting in touch with you.
So I was gonna touch on too some Facebook groups. Facebook, before this happened with the epidemic, Facebook has been very intentional about having these meetings across the country, and I attended 2 of them with business owners, encouraging them to use Facebook groups. They even had ads taken out, like untraditional ads, TV ads about Facebook groups. And so I went back to all of my groups because I haven't been active on my groups because I've been managing my client accounts, but I went back to my groups and started putting out content there because I knew it was something with the groups. Why were they focusing on that? That's a man engage. Facebook has another thing called workspace. That's how the businesses are going to engage. This is changing. To reiterate what Bruce Montgomery said, this is in fact changing the way that people do business, the way our kids go to school. I'm having a conversation with Genius Lab about that later on today. So, for parents who are concerned about that, that's a conversation that we need to talk about as well, how we engaging our kids using technology. And so not to divvy off too much, but with regard to where you need groups, you want to find your tribe and join and engage in that tribe, and then you want to grow your own tribe and engage that tribe. So you might want to have a Facebook group, or you might say, I'm not ready for a Facebook group. I don't have enough content. I don't know what to talk about. Well, then at least put up a Facebook business page, and you can post on there, maybe not every day, but at least a few times a week, right? So let's show you an example of this. I'm gonna go ahead and split my screen because I think I'm going slightly over and I want to be mindful. Let's see. We're gonna start right here with Facebook, and then we'll move over and I'll show you guys Acuity real quick, which is the calendaring system that I was talking about, and then we'll go to my course after that. So can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
Yes, we can see it.
Awesome. So this is Gwen Shaw. She's actually been to Country Financial as one of the speakers. She's an insurance agent. She is an American woman to have a Country Financial agency in Illinois. So she's been doing this for a while, very informative and just an expert, all around expert, great person. So her daughter was doing her yoga instruction yesterday, and she went live on her personal page. So I shared this to her business page. It doesn't per se have anything to do with real estate, but it does a little bit because insurance. Insurance is about staying healthy because they want to promote you staying healthy, because staying healthy, going to the doctor and creating high costs for them. So health and wellness is very closely correlated to her industry. So I shared out this content because you do need to have a separation from the sell. Now her personal page is more robust than her business page. You retain services with me. So we're trying to build momentum to the business page. So we're using the personal page to drive traffic to the business page, right? So she's posting relevant content, running out of ways to keep your kids busy. The parents at home, and they are really trying to find something to do their children that can offer them an experience for their children. You should be creatively cultivating that. Do you make soap? Go live and teach people how to make soap with their kids as an experience, as a science project. You have the gardening or landscaping. Go live and teach the kids how to plant something. You do hair, teach the women how to do their kids' hair. It's a lot of ways that you can engage. It's a lot of need right now. And if you can assess the need of your audience, then you can provide them with something that they're looking for. And it may not be a product or service now, but you can make yourself memorable by how you engage with them now, because trying to sell to them after this and you haven't touched them during this, it's kind of like that friend that after the pandemic, and you didn't even check on me during the pandemic. Like, I don't even have nothing for you. So you have to kind of let them know that I'm interested in what's happening with you and your family, and I want to be a support and a resource to you in this time. That's going to cause people to say, hey, I like the way they do business. I can trust them with my brand. They're on top of things. They care about me even in a pandemic. So, convenience features. She's talking about paying through the mobile app. Then and this is showing some of her engagement that she's creating, how many people are reached. She's also, this is very important right here, she's also supporting one of her business relationships that she has by promoting their product, because a lot of businesses are hurt. So who do you have relationships with? You know, if you are the contractor for a coffee shop and you know that coffee shop has been impacted, post about the coffee shop, tag the owner, put the coffee shop hashtag in it. You know, if you have a relationship who's in the hair industry, tell people that, you know, your beautician is offering coupons and you're gonna, you know, do $5 off. Incentivize. If you incentivize and post about people's businesses, especially at this time, they're really gonna appreciate you. And one thing I'll just share is, go ahead, I'll rattle on. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Pardon me, this is Levine. Quick question. A lot of my client referrals are based on discretion. But oftentimes I'm taking a client's product and elevating it, but there's this level of discretion, non-competes, all of those things that take place. So usually my referrals are, you know, person to person, the people who I know are referring someone. So how do I build on that when I haven't really been out there? I don't really have to market myself normally because, you know, my name is passed on from this person to that person.
Definitely get that. Some of my more PR oriented, and we're gonna like just surfacely touch on that. Some of my PR stuff is sensitive like that to where I can't say it how I, you know, may want to. And we just had a situation like that in real life with the mayor where she got her hair cut and the girl posted about it afterwards. And now, you know, everybody's like, how can you get your hair cut if we can't get our hair done, whatever. So the woman shouldn't have posted about that. It should have been some confidentiality in place. What you do is you effectively say it without saying it. So this is where your wordplay comes in and how you can say something in an open but discreet way. And so if there's a client where there's a confidentiality matter, you could maybe just say, you know, you take an obscure picture, position somewhere where it doesn't show their office or their logo, and you say, just left a great meeting with the client. I'm excited about what we're gonna do and how we're moving forward. This is what I was able to do for them. And that's how I can help you. I can help your business grow. You know, just let people know what you do in a soft, suggestive way without outlining the details of the deal. So whatever your confidentiality limits, navigate around that a little bit to be able to say something without saying something.
Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. I hope that was clear.
And we're just going to, because we're, believe it or not, we're actually almost running out of time. We're going to leave our questions at the end of Andrea's presentation just so we can get everyone and so we can go on to the next guest speaker. Thank you.
Okay. So, and if you guys drop them in the chat and we can't get to them, I'll just copy and paste them and then I'll answer them and then I'll have Quandra send out an email. So, because I know sometimes it's just a lot that's being thrown at you and you might just need to get the question out. So just drop it and I'll make sure I answer it and Quandra will get the answers back. So supporting who supports you right now, your clients, your followers, your community, is important. And while we're here, because we're going to move from Facebook and we're going to go to the back office of my class, but let's go back right here and let me just show you how you do some in action real quick. So I have a client who's in the transportation industry. Obviously, they're not moving a lot right now, right? And oh, you guys are on my thing here. That's you guys right here. And so that's how I tell people about Sunshine. And I drop their hashtag times. But this is the one I want to show you for my transportation client. They're not moving, but we still have to be talking about them. Because after this, I don't want to say after this is over. After, you know, we're out of quarantine, people are going to want to move around and they may need a chauffeur and they want to, you know, they want to make sure that people know that they're still out here, that they're cleaning the cars, sanitizing the cars. So they did a sanitizing video This is my promo. So I do a thing called T-shirt Tuesday, because a lot of times people make these branding shirts and people end up just sleeping in them and they don't really do anything powerful with them. So I was like, man, how do I make these shirts stand out? And so we do these shoots where we'll say something about the shirt and the brand, you know, and then we'll talk about the business a little bit, but give people knowledge about the business in a promo while also wearing the shirt. And usually the shirt has a logo on it, but this one didn't. And so even though they're not doing volume right now, this got 125 comments. People are talking about it. And I think 4 shares to this one. And then we put it on the business page as well. So still, you know, making your presence known so that people, you know, are engaging with you and know you're still out here. It's important. So if we move over to Acuity, right, we get out of Facebook land. Now, the first thing I'm gonna show you before we break into the features of it, you'll notice at the top that they have new feature. They've shifted and pivoted. They said automatically create videos for you and your clients to meet virtually for any of your appointments or classes. Seamlessly integrate with Zoom, Google Meet, GoToMeeting, or Join Me. Set up virtual meetings. So video content is heavy, and the previous speaker reiterated that, and I want to reiterate it again. Video content is super important. And so, you know, these phones, people make video content a really big deal, and they're like, I don't know if I want to do it. I don't know. You know, look, you have a phone that most of us have phone that does really high-tech things. You can do a lot. You don't need a videographer necessarily. You do for some things when you scale, but starting off, you can start with your phone. Create pre-recorded videos. If you think you're not fresh and crisp or polished enough to go live and, you know, you're just like kind of queasy about it, create pre-recorded, because then you can edit it, you can do it over, you can fix it, you can practice or whatever. But once you get that pre-recorded video, load it up to your IGTV, load it up to your Facebook, put it on your LinkedIn. What are you saying to people in a way that makes you relatable, real, and that makes you relevant? Because if you reach those 3 points, then not only do I feel like I know you and trust you, I also feel like you may have the answer to what I need when the need presents itself. If I have a need while I'm on lockdown, maybe I'm looking for you. Maybe I don't have a need while I'm on lockdown. Or maybe after lockdown, I'll have a need and I'll think of you because you were consistently, subliminally, and subtly putting messages to say, hey, I'm out here and I can help you, right? So video content is super huge, and connecting with Zoom. So you need to, you know, kind of start moving towards what can I offer on Zoom? What kind of virtual consultations can I offer? Can I do a DIY for my clients who have smaller budgets, for, you know, the lower hanging fruit? I can't come to you and do it for $45, but I can, hey, you know, go live with you and show you how to do it yourself. Maybe that's a package offering. So all of these reports keep track of everything you've done over. This has got these phone numbers, email addresses. That allows you to really be able to engage the client. Not only just email them, maybe you want to send a text message, you know, or maybe you want to drop off if they have a birthday while in quarantine, you might want to send them a gift card or something. You can set up appointment types in here. That's super dope because you can, you know, color code it and get organized with what you're offering, what services is really clear. People can pay through this platform too. I don't do that. My pay is separate. You can track it for accounting, but you can definitely have them to pay it through here. I'm actually trying to integrate more payment options to link it to my PayPal. So that's actually one of the integrations listed under here. You can have intake form questions. So before you talk to the client, you can know what they want. You know, if you do cakes, you can have an intake question that asks them, hey, you know, what type of icing do you like? What colors do you like? Whatever is specific to your industry, because when you get on the phone, you want to already know what they need. So you need to know some information first. So that's important. So I'll send the link on how you can get Acuity because it's definitely a great organizational tool for you to use. Now I'm going to go back here to the live stream on lockdown. So this is more so about how you live stream, but it's also content oriented. So the first thing I started off is what we've been talking about over and over again, considering your target audience. Where are they? Are they on? Now let me tell you that marketing is not one size fits all. So like I'm gonna be on TikTok, right? And my son's been talking about TikTok before this, and we had done some little videos, and I was like, okay, this is not really what my audience is because it's, you know, maybe a little too young, and I left it alone. But Gary Vaynerchuk has been talking about TikTok for a while, and now that it's being talked about and little things have been done, I'm gonna go back to TikTok, but not because I think my audience is there. It creates another creative thing that's not business that could draw people into the business. And let me just really break that down real quick. So if I'm a consumer, you know, in the market out here on the social media streets, and I see you on TikTok dancing, and you a great dancer, you making me laugh, you know, but every now and then while you dancing, you like, you know, you say something like, hey, you know, you could dance all day, but if you don't have insurance, you need to give a call. You know, I drop a hint in there and infuse it in. So yeah, we're having fun. That's what we do on the radio. We're having fun. We're listening to music, but we're gonna give you a little ad in there too. So you can still use it for your benefit, because I might see you dancing, but later on I might need some insurance and I may think of you then too. You know, LinkedIn is where everybody needs to be professionally. I mean, that's just where everybody is. That's the only platform that's specifically for business. It's not a lot of, you know, other, it's very streamlined. It's probably the most focused platform as far as business. So finding out where they are and engaging them there. I want to just touch on Be Live real quick. That's two separate words, Be Live. And the reason why I want to touch on that, because I'm going to give you guys this for the people who are like, I don't like to be live and I don't know what to talk about and stuff. Well, you can get people who are experts in their industry who like to talk, because people are looking, they know, especially now. So what I did in the beginning was I interviewed people, because I was like, you know what, I don't know how to package what I know yet, but I know how to ask questions and talk with people. And I know people want to tell their story. So I'm going to help them to tell their story. And so by me going to get the heavy hitters, I was able to build the audience, because it's like, oh, Andrea's interviewing so-and-so, Andrea's interviewing so-and-so. And they just kept hearing I was interviewing so-and-so. And so they were like, well, who is Andrea? Then I started hashtagging myself. She is Andrea. Just the answer kept saying that. I still say that. She is Andrea Thompson. So it's a soft and subtle, but very direct reminder that I'm here. And when you need me, you know, remember me. And that's what you should be doing. So the cycle to and from YouTube, where you directing your traffic, we touched on that a little bit. We talked about where you have a base and where you're sending that base to other platforms. And some of this is more detailed, but I want to just touch on it so we can have time for questions, and I can do my wrap up. How and where to repurpose content, IGTV, non-social media. Stuck in the thing of thinking that the social media world is the space that you market. You have to get off social media too. You have to be visible. People have to, because people have to know that what you're saying on social media is real. People have to know that you're a real person. And you also have to think about this question that I thought about later on in my entrepreneurial endeavors. Long term, because we're talking about right now with a lot of this, but think about long term, because long term will help you plan better right now. Are you looking to be the face of your brand? Do you want somebody else to be the face of your brand? Are you like a silent owner? Are you connected to your brand where people know that your business is your brand, and you, like Andrea Thompson is Pal Biz Media, or is it separate? So just to make that clear, that's a very important question, because now, because I did not create separation, I created a lot of attachment, because somebody, you know, I said something about Pal Biz and they were like, oh, you're the creator of Pal Biz, you're the owner of Pal Biz. And I said, yeah. And they said, oh, we didn't know. And I said, oh, I got to fix this. I got to attach myself to my brand. And so I attached myself so hard that now that I want to do other things outside of Pal Biz Media with speaking and the authoring thing and other things, I break that and have Andrea Thompson as a brand and Pal Biz Media as an entity that can run independently of me. This is a time to really think about your teams. Bruce Montgomery touched on that. Who's on your team? Not just your external vendors that help with operations, but also your internal people. Who are the people that's making sure that operations are running smoothly? Who's your right-hand person? Who's managing your employees? Who's helping to cultivate partnerships? Who's on your marketing team? Because the strength of those people is really the strength of what's going to be able now. So check on your house and clean your house. Make sure everybody's up to par.
Andrea, is it possible that we can open it for questions and answers? Because I want to be respectful of other people's time, and he has to drop off at noon, right at noon. So are there any questions for Andrea? I know, Sarita, you had your hand raised? Okay.
Yes, I'm actually a massage therapist, and my industry is health and wellness. So what I realized, speaking about social media, my traffic is between, well, I would say more so Instagram than Facebook. And I realized I run out of ideas when I post. And being that it's health and wellness, being that I'm a person that actually help those is self-care. So massage therapy, instead of just looking at it as something that's luxury, I'm trying to let people know the importance of taking care of yourself, just like you getting your hair done, your nails done, or whatever. So what would you say I would need to do as far as with social media?
So I just typed a few that came into mind. I sent it privately to somebody by accident. Oh man, I sent it to Beatrice Steele. So let me just send it to everybody so you can, let me see. Okay, so you can do a lot of things with wellness. Wellness is you could do so much. You can interview the exercise people, the fitness people. You can do yoga. You can talk about skin health. You can talk about vitamins and nutrition, what vitamins you can take. You can talk about the differences between water, spring water, purified water, electrolyte water. You can talk about the foot thing, what a reflex things are going on with the foot. It's a lot of content around how to keep your body well. The body is a complex organ. So you can talk about a lot of it, but I think you got to pull it out and separate it and say, this is the category about, the exterior, what's going to show on the exterior, your skin, your nails. This is the internal, your organs. Okay. This is the content about wellness in terms of my emotional space, my family life, my home life, work-life balance. And then you pull topics from that. You find articles, read them, and then synthesize them in your own tone and write about them.
So what about products? Because I know it's about to be Mother's Day. I usually do like healing like creams, because I realized I would like create them and use them on my clients. And I realized like one of the therapists, we did a couples massage and I was going to get ready to throw it away. I'm like, well, we used it. And she's like, girl, I could reuse this. So it gave me an idea to create the creams. So would you say as far as product, like would that be a good idea to do as well? Like especially during this time that I can't do massages?
I think that, creams are a good thing, but also, think of other things too that's like hands off sometimes right now. Because, people might be a little queasy, like, are you giving me something to rub on me? I don't know, whatever. So people are really funny right now. So what people are not worried about a candle. A candle emits light. A candle is like wellness. It's not going on your body. And then maybe something like an affirmations book for your wellness to be centered. Maybe some lavender oil, something that's gonna, that you can smell, because our senses is what evokes emotions. And sometimes a lot of us buy when we feel something. And so if you're trying to make me feel something, smell, touch, sight, those things are gonna move me. And so I will put the candle in there and the oil in there.
Well, thank you for that, Andrea. And if
Okay,
anyone have
and
any
I
other
saw
questions,
Stephanie.
can you
Thank
all?
you. Yeah, that's it. That's all I have question.
If you have questions at the end, if Andrea, if you're able to stick around and answer questions, I at least want to get to the financial institutions. We really want to get to the money part.
I want to hear the money part too. I want to stay for that.
That's right. So we can understand what loans and grants are out there to assist you all. So I'm going to turn it over to Marcus Yancey to go ahead and once again, we may go over a little bit. So I want to be respectful of everyone's time, and I hope that's going to be okay. But if you have to drop off, we understand. And hopefully Marcus and Vince, is that okay, Vince, for a few minutes over 12 o'clock? Okay, great, he gave me a thumbs up. Okay, Marcus, so if you could go ahead and to kick this off, and then we'll move over to Vince, and then we can wrap up. Thank you.
Great. Just trying to make sure. How are we looking?
Good. We can see you.
Good.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marcus Yancey. I'm an economic development lender and special projects officer for Local Initiative Support Corporation, better known as LISC, here in the Chicago office. LISC's goal is to create social and economically vibrant and sustainable neighborhoods by providing or assisting with living wage jobs, local businesses, good schools, quality housing, and much needed amenities to help have our communities be really vibrant. One of the things that I wanted to talk about today was the LISC response to COVID-19. We realize that this is a really important chapter in a lot of our small businesses' lives right now, as far as how they're going to be able to, we know that there are, unprecedented public health and economic challenges for the entire country, especially here in the city of Chicago, and especially people that are in historically underserved and invested places throughout the city. And so, we're continuing to look at reports in the urban areas, and we realize the urgency. And so as a result, we created the LISC Rapid Relief and Resiliency Fund. Our three main components are to be able to support small business entrepreneurs in the communities that are at high level risk and need fast access to grants, patient and flexible capital. In addition to helping them connect with government assistance to be viable, we also want to help local economies remain intact and reconstruct during these upcoming challenging times, because I think that there still will be some challenges that we will face. We also look to provide organizational support for community-based partners, so whether it's CDC, CBOs, good partners, small business development centers, YWCA, and a host of other organizations that are out there. So we want to be able to provide them grants, working capital, and other assistance to make sure that they have the ability to support small business owners like you guys that are on the call today. One of the things that I wanted to highlight with LISC is to talk about our small business resiliency fund and the amount of support that we received from Verizon Wireless program that I'm going to be speaking about right now. We were supported by Verizon Wireless with a $2.5 million investment to help fuel LISC grants for up to $10,000 for small businesses that are facing extreme financial hardship and who need this capital in order to survive. U.S. Bank has also been a great partner, and they've also supported us with $500,000 in grants to provide crucial assistance to the community-based partners and small businesses that are part of, our national network. So we have what's called Verizon Let's Pay It Forward. Initially, there was a $2.5 million grant that was awarded. Applications actually opened up, I believe it was March 31st, closed on April 4th. And we did a really great job promoting this project. There were about 25 small businesses here in Chicago that received grants of $10,000. The great thing about this is that we're going to continue this program, and there's going to be a second round of funding. So I encourage everyone to, if you did apply before, to reapply again to try to get access to that capital. Pay It Forward Live is a live streaming tool. It's going to feature some big names. Tonight, there's going to be a live streaming feature of Alicia Keys. And what we do is we have people come to the website to be able to promote, to increase awareness around the support that's needed. And if you tune in this evening, every time you retweet Pay It Forward Live, $10 additional will be donated to the small business funds that we can then reinvest into our small business community here in Chicago. So please support and please apply. One of the things that we want to do in order to be able to get these small businesses to bounce back is really to support them to be able to stay. These funds can be used for rent and utilities, payroll, outstanding debt to vendors. So that could be, mortgages included in this as well too if you own any type of property. There's a need for technology infrastructure improvement, as we know that a lot of things are being done online from a remote standpoint. Emergency cash assistance, for clients that are most in need, and then other immediate operational costs. So as I stated before, whether it's through lending, needing to ask for a short-term loan or grant support, we want to make sure that we're here to be able to support you. One of the programs that we're really, really excited about is the Small Business Resiliency Fund that's being done through the city of Chicago, which LISC is an extreme supporter of, and we're one of the partners with this particular program. The Small Business Resiliency Fund kind of is something that was launched due to the COVID-19, and we, as a city, realized that it put an extreme burden on not being able to stay open, loss of jobs, unemployment is through the roof. So the city of Chicago established a $100 million fund, which will help provide small businesses with emergency cash flow during this immediate health crisis. Funds will be eligible to certain businesses and at a very low interest rate, which is great. So it helps set up, some really great payment terms. This was done in conjunction with the city treasurer's office and the chief financial officer from the mayor's office that this program was administered through several different CDFIs, which LISC is one of those CDFIs. Application did open up March 31st. I believe applications are still open. I know a lot of people have already done the Survey Monkey. The next phase is to actually do the application. So I really encourage people to make sure that they understand that this is a two-step process that occurs here. The loan terms for this particular program, they're very low interest rate, as you see here. The terms can be up to 5 years, loan $1,000, but size based on revenues that were generated before the COVID-19 outbreak. Loan proceeds can be used for working capital, and at least 50% of the proceeds should be applied towards payroll and a commitment to retain the workforce for those of you all that have a workforce. And to be eligible for the business, you have to meet quite a few different categories. So one is to be, you have to suffer at least 25% revenue decrease due to COVID-19. Also, you have to have fewer than 50 employees and have annual gross revenues of less than $3 million in the 2019 calendar year. You also need to provide a city business address and city business license, if that's applicable. No pre-existing tax liens or legal judgments either can exist for you to be able to accept these funds. So again, make sure you go apply. It's a two-step process, the Survey Monkey, and then they should have notified you if you did do the Survey Monkey to then go ahead and reapply. What I have here is just kind of a structure the required monthly payments just to show you how flexible this is. And this is based off someone who has a $50,000 loan and someone who has a $20,000 loan. I always encourage people to really understand what it is that you will need. If you don't need $50,000, don't take it. Really understand what your repayment status is. The first 6 months of this loan will be zero interest, which is great. There's only a $10 a month principal payment that's required to maintain this particular account. After that, from month 7 to 12, there's a 1% interest rate. And then moving forward, there's a principal and interest payment that has to be paid after 1 year. So for the first 6 months, just a minimum payment of $10. 7 to 12 months, the next 6 months, it's only 1% interest, and you're making an interest-only payment. Thereafter, it's a principal and interest, and then it will go into a rate of 5.75, and that's across the board. So if you go through this program, no matter who your lender ends up being, whether it's CNIMFG, Axion, List, or any other CDFI, the rate will be at fixed at 5.75% for the remaining term of this particular loan program. So we've already talked a little bit about some of these following requirements, and just to reiterate, just want to make sure that you meet the qualifications, that there is a 25% revenue decrease. You have to have less than 50 employees. The business address and license has to be located in the city. And then another thing too that I failed to mention before was that you have to be in operation for at least a year. So this is not really a program for startups and people trying to start business. It's more about sustainability. Right here, you can see how to apply. The applications, as I stated before, are now available. The link can be found here at the chicago.gov/coronavirus. You can also find links that are on the BACP website. Some of the documents that will be needed so that you can have this prepared ahead of time is a valid business license and business address, as I stated before, and then also bank statements dating back to October 2019, and then your most recent tax return. So if you have a 2018 tax return, please provide that. I know a lot of small businesses have not applied, but have filed for their 2019 taxes, especially due to the circumstances and the extension that has been applied until, I believe, July of this year, which you would have to file. And then on top of that, you will be subject to a debt check. So review of what your entire debt portfolio is to make sure that you can afford to be able to repay the loan. There is support for these applications. You can contact your neighborhood business development centers. I believe there are some small business development centers that are assisting in the process too, that are located within the city. Also the Resiliency Fund, which comes out of the city of Chicago, they also have a team of experts as well too that are ready to guide people through the application process. And you can find more at chicagoresiliencyfund.com. I encourage everyone to really tap into the resources that the Business Affairs and Consumer Protection Department has for the city of Chicago. For those of you that don't know, BACP issues licenses to businesses. They provide business education, access to resources, and protect consumers from fraud. So they will be having updates periodically on their website as far as any other programs that will roll out. So I encourage you to visit the BACP website, and I will share some of those links with Quan to be able to distribute to those that are listening here on the call right now. Some additional tools that are out there that I just want to briefly touch base on for small businesses, the small business tax and utility relief. So as I stated before, the federal tax deadline is July 15th. The city of Chicago has also delayed a few other taxes as well until April 30th. So collection of restaurant tax. So if you are running a restaurant, you can be alleviated of those business taxes until April 30th, not having to pay. Business fine collections, debt collections, license renewal and late fees will be waived. And then any non-health or public safety related business penalties that you may have received, you will not have to pay those currently. And then last thing, I always think that as being a good business owner, You have to be responsible to your employees for those that have employees and provide them with some assistance. Please refer any of your unemployed or laid off employees to the Illinois Department of Employment Security so that individuals can apply for unemployment benefits. Right now, from what I'm hearing, they're going based off of your 2019 tax returns. So whatever your maximum unemployment insurance would have been for the next 4 months, you get that maximum benefit as well as an additional $600 per week, I believe, over the next 4 months. So it's really critical to be able to support your employees during this time. And then also, there's also other employment opportunities. I really encourage people to look at Skills for Chicagoland Future, and then also the Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership for job opportunities for themselves. But then, I'm sorry, not for their employees, but also for themselves. There's a lot of small business owners, who have closed up shop. They, have a need for some supplemental income. So whether that's gig work, just identifying a new job that needs to take place until we can get out of this COVID-19 crisis and your business can get restarted. That's all I have. If anyone has any questions, my contact information is here on the screen. Please do not hesitate to reach out, and I will turn this back over to Quandra.
Thank you so much. We did have a few questions, and I'm just going to read them off. In terms of the payouts, do you know when they're going to start dispersing the funds?
Which funds?
The Verizon the grant money, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so the first round of funding, I'm sorry?
I didn't say anything, we're listening.
Okay, so the first round of funding has already been allocated. As I said before, there were about 25 companies here in the city of Chicago that were awarded $250,000 at $10,000 a piece. They've already been selected. I believe they're doing their due diligence, just making sure that the businesses are legitimate. And then there should be an announcement, I believe on the 14th, those small businesses will be notified, and payment is expected to come talking within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Those small businesses or nonprofit organizations will actually have those funds in their account by no later than April 30th. And as far as the second round, I expect it to be the same time frame after the applications go out and then they make the decisions. It'll probably be 2 to 3 weeks after that the funds will be received for the second round.
Okay, and then I'm just gonna just take one other question. Felicia, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, I just wanted to know, he mentioned the Chicago Cook Workforce, and I didn't catch the other one.
Yeah, Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership, and then the other one, Skills.
Okay, thank you.
Could I ask also, when is the second round of the Verizon grant likely to start?
I'm hoping next week. They'll make the announcement once they have, notified all of the businesses and nonprofits that have received funding. But I think it's going to open up next week, and I'll share that link as well with Quandra, where you can actually go into the application, submit just maybe contact information, and as soon as those applications open up, you'll be notified.
Very good.
And I've gotten a couple of questions, Marcus, real quick about a Survey Monkey or people doing a survey, but they can't find the application. Are you familiar with that?
Possibly. So, I mean, the Survey Monkey was the initial phase, and that was kind of sent out before, I believe it was March 31st when applications opened up. It was the previous week or about a week and a half that the Survey Monkey opened up. I can share with you the information. That way people can go directly.
Okay. And just real quick,
I'll actually put that inside of the chat.
Wonderful. And I have two other community banks on the line, CIBC and Axion. Did you all want to add anything at this point before Vince started his presentation?
Hey, it's Amanda from Axion. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Hey, yeah, so as far as Axiom is concerned, we are actually focusing on the Illinois Small Business Emergency Loan Fund, which is basically a directive from the Illinois Department of Commerce. So right now, that's the loan that we're offering to all Illinois small business owners, city included. There is a preference for outside of the city of Chicago, but city of Chicago businesses are eligible to apply as well. That loan is for up to $50,000 with an interest rate of 3%. You would need to, so in order to apply for that, I can send the link out. The documents that you would need would be October through December 2019 business bank statements. And then you would need like your IRS EIN letter, a voided check, and I think that's all. And then there's a certification kind of guidelines that we have that we ask each business owner to read over before they apply. There's not necessarily an application deadline, but we are definitely flooded with applications. So I could send that link and just make sure it gets out as soon as possible because there is a deadline looming with that. But that's for the entire state of Illinois. So any small business owner that's been in business at least a year and can provide business bank statements from October to December 2019 and their IRS EIN letter and a photo ID and voided check. So that's all I have.
Great, thank you so much. And I saved the best for last, right, Vince? I wanted to introduce Vince Williams from the YWCA, who's also an SBDC institution, and we will look forward to hearing your presentation.
All right, perfect. Thanks a lot for the introduction, Quadra, and the other panelists or speakers that you had on today. It's been sharing some great information.
Thank you.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
We're all good? Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to go over briefly what the SBA is doing regarding providing some financial resources for the pandemic that we're going through right now. Feel free to ask any questions towards the end there. Again, as an SBDC, what we're hoping to do is just, again, be able to provide a wealth of options for small business owners to get through the pandemic and be able to sustain and get to that next level after this. What we are finding is that a lot of entrepreneurs and small business owners that were in the process of starting their business have been halted because of this. And that has also led to some of them applying for some of these grants and loan options. But again, it's not meant for those purposes. And so I wanted to share that because keep that in mind. And that can be one of the reasons why an existing business is not receiving information or correspondence back as quickly as possible, because you have to filter through all of the applications and things that are coming to you, just based on that. Make sense? All right, perfect. So as Quadra said, I'm Vince Williams. I'm the director of the Illinois Small Business Development Center here in Woodlawn at the YWCA Metropolitan Chicago. For many of you around the city of Chicago, you may know that there's several small business development centers. We all are actively here to support small businesses and then to also work collaboratively with financial institutions like Axiom, CIBC, LIST, and then some of the other business incubators and others that are around town. So if you were to do a quick search for SBDC in Illinois, that will take you to illinois.gov, where you'll end up being able to see if there's one in your neighborhood. You can reach out to us and we'll be able to access you and share some information with you. Let's see here. Okay, if you wanted to join the mailing list for all of the products, services, workshops, and all that we do at the YWCA there in Woodlawn on 66th and Cottage, just text SBDC YWCA to 22828. And that way you can be included in on some of the resources that we end up providing. We do legal clinics as well as work directly with Sunshine Enterprise and some of the other accelerators and incubators in the area. Again, just to make sure that we're providing all of the resources necessary for entrepreneurs like yourself to get going and keep resources available for you. What I'm going to talk about today I'm going to go through 4 of the programs that are available: the Paycheck Protection Program, the EIDL, which stands for Economic Injury Disaster Loan, then the SBA Bridge Loan, and then the SBA Debt Relief Loan. I'm just going to do general information on it. If you did want to reach out to me, my contact information will be at the very end, where we can go into detail with it. I'm sure Sunshine Enterprise, as well as Bruce Montgomery and some of the other organizations that were represented here today, will have some contact information to share. And then I will also share this presentation with Quandra that has all of the links included, so that you can get directly to each of these sites and complete the information there as well. Hopefully that will help for you. So I'm going to start right in, and I'd like to give credit for a lot of these slides being shared by one of our strategic partners, the Women's Business Development Center. Again, with us all being able to share a lot of the same and exact information, we didn't want to confuse entrepreneurs and business owners as to what's going out there, since there is so much information that's being shared. Again, it's important that everyone realize that because this is what they're calling a novel pandemic or a novice pandemic, that it's new, that's why everyone's trying to react quickly to it. And information is being updated and changed daily. So even once I share this information with you today, it's great for you to go to the link on the website to make sure that you're getting the most current information. So for example, when we first started receiving this information back in mid-March, that has been updated already. And we're finding now that more opportunities are coming available where there's grants and loans, and then some of the situations have been converted over to loan forgiveness based on, again, the breadth and depth of what you're seeking. So with getting started here, I've listed on how you're applying for the Paycheck Protection Program, the Economic Injury Disaster Loans, and then the Small Business Debt Relief. So just to break them out, that first one, the Paycheck Protection Program, is capital to cover you to keep your employees. What we've uncovered is that some organizations have furloughed their employees or basically cut their hours down to zero. If that is the case, what we're hoping to do as a small business development center is to provide the funds for you to keep those employees back on. It doesn't mean that you can't rehire those employees or that you have to employ them right away, but we do want to make sure that is going to be a continuation when you apply for that particular program, because it is garnered and generated so that you will keep your employees intact. The next one is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, which is smaller amounts for you to basically take advantage of keeping your business afloat during this time. I'm going to go a little bit more in detail into that one in the next few slides there, but I just want to give you a quick assessment of what that particular loan for. There's a $10,000 amount that they're giving for that will be a grant. And what we're hoping is that that can be dispersed to you as quickly as possible so that you can keep your business afloat. What I have uncovered from some of my clients that have applied for that already is that if you have received your tax returns through electronic deposit last year, then because they have that information already on hand, they'll be able to get those funds back to you right away. If they did not have that information, just understand that the process now could take a little bit longer, because it's not like they're just going to send that money out for you immediately or so from there. And then next is the Small Business Debt Relief Program. And this is another one to just make sure that you are going to be able to pay your existing debts that you have as a small business owner. And so this is a way for us to identify the 81 plus lenders that the Small Business Administration has identified throughout the state of Illinois, so that you can continue to keep your business afloat. And what they're hoping here, again, is that you're basically re-energizing and renewing your relationship with your existing financial institution. And therefore you are able to share with them, what the hardships are that you're having, and they can help you with this debt relief program. If that's not the case, where you don't have that great of a working relationship with your existing financial institution, then we can forward you on to one of the institutions that is helping in this case. And then hopefully you can start getting that relationship together so that you can move forward. With that in mind, know that, again, this is a loan there are going to be some partial forgiveness and things in there. So you want to make sure that you have your profit and loss statements and your business balance sheets and income statements in order. So this is kind of a great time. Again, what we're all trying as business development centers to get you to work on your business instead of working, in your business, and making sure that those things are done. All right. So this particular slide here, and again, I know it's a lot of information, so I will share this with Quandra to get out to everyone. This goes over the overview of the actual eligibility of the program, as well as who's ineligible for the program. So when this first came out, a few weeks ago, again, the government looking at $349 billion in possible loans. So you have to think about all of the small businesses that are going to be applying for this. And because the term small business is clearly defined as any organization with 500 employees or fewer, you have to think of all of the organizations that could actually apply for this. So just to give you kind of an assessment of that, I am employed by the YWCA Metropolitan Chicago. We have a little over 200 employees, but we cover 13 locations. So you can imagine, by the definition of a small business, though we are a nonprofit too, we fall in that 500 employees or fewer. So when you think about that again as being the scale of other businesses that you will be applying for this payroll protection program with. So don't think that it's just going to be those organizations that are 1 or 2 or 3 individuals, or maybe 5 to 10 individuals. It's going to be any organization that has 500 employees or under that fall within that. In addition to that, they want you to at least have been operating since the beginning of this year, knowing that there's going to be some inconsistencies there, but they want to be able to help in some manner so that these businesses can stay afloat. And as we're learning more and more, these guidelines are being updated. So that's why I will share the link for you to go to, so that you can make sure that if any of these requirements and eligibility requirements have changed or been updated, that you'll have the most recent information. I know, for example, tomorrow on the 10th of April, that this payroll protection program is going to be open to independent contractors, as well as sole proprietors and other individuals. And so that will see, again, a nice increase in those that are applying for that program, whereas before it had not been previously offered for them. And then just to touch briefly on some of the ineligible entities that go for it, household employers, if you have household employees, nannies, housekeepers in that capacity, or if the owner is 20% more equity, has been incarcerated or on probation there. So basically, they want to, again, keep this falling within the guidelines of the federal government being able to provide these funds. All right, our next slide, where can you apply? You can apply through some existing SBA lenders. Again, there's a link at the bottom of this screenshot that sba.gov, go to Paycheck Protection and then /find. That will get you to the list of all of the existing SBA lenders that are working with this, as well as if you have that working relationship with the financial institution that's FID insured. So if they're not on the SBA list, but again, they are looking to work through this and provide these types of loans, because some are doing them on their own, you can actually go through them. There's some credit unions as well. I know Self-Help Credit Union here in Chicago on the South Side is one that is working with it, as well as some of the other representatives that are on this call today, like Axion, CIBC, and the Local Initiative Support Corporation as well. What do you need to apply for these loans. So this is pretty important too, because we want small businesses to know that, again, when you have your paperwork in order, you'll be able to apply for this to make sure that your business can sustain and keep going. They want to certify that your business, of course, has the financial needs that's impacted by this. So that's why they're going to look at your tax return for the past year, or if you're a new business that has just started out, they just want to see what your projected income is looking like for this first year, so that they have some type of information that they can use to make sure that they're providing you with the right amount. There's an SBA Form 2483 that's 3 pages long that they're asking all applicants to complete. It's very simple, but it provides all of the necessary information that the loan institutions are looking for. Excuse me. And so at the links that I'm providing, Quandra, as well, you'll be able to complete that information and submit that form from there. They do want proof of payroll. So if you're using any type of database like Quicken or even if it's an Excel spreadsheet that you use to your proof of payroll, they want that as evidence. Or if you're using one of the providers like ADP or so, to download that information so that you can get that to them, so that they have a track and a record of what's being paid out. Again, you don't want this to identify any fraud opportunities from those that are looking to take advantage of this or even receive these funds so that they can take advantage of the grant. And so that's why it's important to have this proof when submitting the application. They may not ask for this information to be uploaded as you're doing the application, but just be sure that you have it ready to go, which is why I wanted to share what you needed to have to apply. And that way you will can upload that information to the financial institution as quickly as possible, and then they can process your paperwork and take it from there. Some other documents that we've known them to ask is, again, your articles of incorporation. That's your business license and your legal entity. If you're a sole proprietor, LLC, or an S Corp, any of your doing business as documentation that you have there, of course, your list of owners and those business tax returns. By having all of that paperwork and items like that ready to go, again, that's going to shorten the turnaround time for you receiving the funds that will take place by applying for the program. All right, now let's go into what information the banks are verifying. Instead of determining the repayment ability, which is what a lot of financial institutions look for when they are looking to take or provide a loan, lenders are basically going to look to make sure that your business is in operation. They're going to confirm receipt of the actual application that you sent in for the payroll protection. And then the loan officers themselves are going to verify the dollar amount. And what they're doing there is it's 2.5 times the average monthly payroll cost. So that it's a formula that they calculated that's going to best make sure that they're getting you the right dollar amount, so that you're not going to have a large loan amount that's not going to cover, for this period of time, this 2-month period of time that they're anticipating these funds being able to help for. But you want to make sure that you're providing your lender with, again, that payroll documentation, because they're going to look at that to make sure that all the paperwork and the exact amount is in order. So how do you apply for the Economic Injury Disaster Loan? And that's the EIDL. This one is the application that just opened up on March 30th. From what I understand, I have several clients that also have applied with this. And when that application has started, they are looking for that same information, but this is where you're going to be able to qualify for an advance of $10,000 that's going to be forgiven to get you going and keep your business up and running right now. Again, that loan advance is not going to have to be repaid, But what I've been advising entrepreneurs and business owners is that you don't want to take out an exorbitant amount of this loan when you're looking at this time frame, even though we don't know the actual impact that this is going to have on our businesses over the next few months. But again, you just don't want to go into debt in this case, knowing that, again, outside of the first $10,000 that's being provided from an emergency standpoint, if you go over that amount, you still have that large amount that you're going to have to put into as being a debt. And then next year, when you're filing your taxes, you're going to have to acknowledge that you received that and take it from there. The website here to go to find out more information about the EIDL is provided here at the bottom, and that's covid19relief.sba.gov. And again, this entire presentation will be provided to Quandra so that she can get this to you if you have any questions directly on there. And then in the very last slide is my contact information. Again, as a small business development center, we're here to help and be a resource for you in the community and the neighborhood. And so you can reach out to me. My phone number's on there, as well as reach out to Quandra and Sunshine, Bruce, Axion, CIBC, as well as Marcus at List Corporation will be able to help and answer any questions. Again, we want to be this great resource for, again, business and entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much. That was a wonderful job, Vince and Marcus. Real quick, there is one question, Vince, regarding a person. Stephanie went to her credit union, and they're not recommending this loan. Do you have any recommendations for anyone, any other banks that she may go to?
Yeah, absolutely. So I can actually forward the entire list of the 81 providers that are here. If that's the only organization that you have your existing business account with, yeah, there's a couple of other credit unions that will help you. For example, Self-Help, their offices are right there on 87th. They have one at the Dan Ryan and another just closer to Cottage Grove. Provident Bank, Chase Bank, and again, CIBC and Axion are some others that are working with you too. Because you do have, obviously, that track record or receipts of that business account, you can just easily download that information and share that with them, and they'll be able to access you for there. I do apologize that that particular credit union that you're a part of is not participating, but again, it's a business decision that some of the financial institutions are choosing to do.
Right. Well, thank you again. I am so sorry for keeping you all. Hopefully, this information has been very useful to you all. I did want to at least let you know, even though we've given you a lot of information today, the good thing is I will be sharing everyone's deck with you. Also, this is recorded, so you all hopefully will be able to send out the recording later. Additionally, this is a workshop series. So over the next few weeks, we will continue to offer workshops that will be instrumental in keeping your businesses afloat. Andrea has graciously agreed to host another workshop. So she's going to go more into details on doing business online and using social media. And so you should start to see information on that. Additionally, we're going to have a workshop on insurance and accounting, because we think right now that's very important, especially as you all start to get these loans and understanding if you have to report a grant or not and how you report these loans on your taxes for next year. So we want to make sure we have someone to speak to you on that. And also we're going to have a legal workshop for you all before we end the workshop series. Additionally, we have COVID-19 resources on our on our website at sunshineenterprises.com. I've heard a lot of people saying that all this information is overwhelming. We are sending a lot of emails out, but we have coalesced all this information. We've put it on our website under a COVID-19 banner on our website. So you can click on that and it actually breaks it down into categories. So you guys can go in there and think about what's most important for you. And then you can click on those links. So once again, we really appreciate you all sticking with us. We hope that this information was useful. And I'm going to turn it over to Bruce, and he's going to wrap up and get us out of here.
Thank you very much, Quandra. And again, I think you wrapped it up for us. We'll make sure that we get all of the information that was shared with us today out to everyone. And we look forward to being in touch with each and every one of you. I would like to stress as we close that we have a community. We have a community in each other, and it's time for us to lock arms and become support for one another. So as we reach out, let's make sure that we start to move away from what has been the way Chicago has used to do business, which is I got mine, you get yours, to a new way of doing business, which is we are in fact all in this together. So we're all entrepreneurs in our own right, but we can be our brothers and sisters' best support in this time of need. So let's base our actions on integrity and purpose and principle, and be love in action in a very real way for ourselves, our family, and those that we care about. So we thank you very much for being here today, and we look forward to all the success in the world, because we are on the front lines and we are the difference makers. Have a great day.
Have a great day, everyone.